We all hear about big destination hunts. And for good reason. Epic locations and guaranteed success make it easy to tell a story and film an episode. But the truth is, I didn't grow up doing those hunts. I had to find areas near my home that I could carve out a few hunts a season, making the most of what I had available. Doing this, I learned that there are some amazing opportunities to be had. And often, these opportunities are right in our own backyard. Lucky for me, I had some great friends and mentors that helped me learn this. This is a story about those friends, mentors, and places. About weekend hunts, good times among friends, birds cupped up in the decoys, and a young dog learning the ropes. It all takes place in an unlikely location, right close to home. This is Wild Upland.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan.
Waterfowl hunters are no stranger to the darkness of early mornings. Hours before the sun even begins to brighten the skyline, waterfowlers are up, setting up decoys, brushing in blinds, and preparing for the hunt ahead. This is a hunt I've taken part in since I was a kid. My dad and his friends letting me tag along, tired from the change in sleep schedule, but excited to be missing school. Since then, I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. I know that when you think waterfowl, Wyoming probably isn't a location that comes to mind, but it's close to where we live. From my house, I can get here in a couple hours. And because we've been willing to put in the time and gas for scouting and planning, we've found success here.
So I'm out here in Wyoming this week with my dad and a good buddy of ours, John. He's been a friend of the family for a lot of years, and we came out here chasing waterfowl in a pretty unusual place. This is a spot that doesn't look like it would be great waterfowl hunting. Wyoming's well known for its sage grouse and for its prairie birds, but isn't often thought of as a waterfowl destination. It doesn't have the numbers that you see in many of the places back east or even out in the Midwest, but it's a place that is close to us. So being in northeastern Utah, we're able to get over here a couple hours drive and have an awesome weekend hunt and really show that in places that aren't necessarily thought of as destination hunts, you can still put together an awesome day of hunting. And that's the beauty of being able to look right in your backyard and say, well, what do I have available to me and how do I make the most of it? And this is very much a hunt that's like that.
We're hunting with John Cannon, a close family friend who my dad met during his time as a horse trainer. As it so happened, my dad was training a retriever at that same time. And soon, a friendship formed around hunting and dogs.
I met John a little over 20 years ago. I just moved my reining horse business into Ogden, Utah. I was riding out of a new facility there, and one day John came walking in the door and wanted to spend some time with me horseback and do some things in the reining industry. So we hit it off with a great relationship. That led into duck hunting, and some of the best duck and goose hunts I've ever been on were with John in places that I just didn't know you could have that kind of hunt.
During that time, Talmadge was training dogs, and he had a great little black lab we called Ebby. And I kind of wanted Ebby, but I didn't think I could afford Ebby. And so I cut a deal with Talmadge to trade him. He said he'd like a gun. And so I gave him 2 guns for the dog. And turned out to be the best dog we ever owned. Had her for a long time. Talmadge loved her, we loved her, and we started hunting together a lot at that time. And Tanner was 12 years old. The first goose hunt we ever took him on. I don't think he slept all night the night before. We had a great time, and he's been addicted ever since. And they've been friends of our family. We've really enjoyed the Smedleys.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Browning, the best there is. Fiocchi, your upland ammo for every pursuit. Onyx, know where you stand. Tetra Hearing, hear the hunt. Final Rise, premium upland gear.
There's a lot to be said for what we refer to as backyard hunts. Places that aren't necessarily hunting hotbeds, but are close enough that you're able to hunt often.
Primarily, Canada geese and ducks are our primary target out here, but it really can change hunt to hunt what you have coming in. The ducks might be really hitting a spot one day and a handful of geese, and then the next week when you're here, it's all geese and the ducks have gone somewhere else. So it can change a lot, but those are our 2 species we're out of, and we pay attention and do a lot of scouting for how they're using the country.
Wyoming may be more known for its sage grouse and prairie birds, but because we can hunt it more often, we've learned the area well, opening up the door for us to get on some great waterfowl action. So we've got a chance to geese and ducks today. I'm shooting these Fiocchi ones across the board. That should be good for the ducks and the geese. Be able to get them in close, and we should be all set.
So on this trip, I decided to bring Colt. He's a young lab that I got out on a couple hunts at the end of the season last year, but he was still quite young. And we got out on a hunt or 2 the starting of this season with him. So he's retrieved some ducks and is starting to figure out the game of hunting, but he'd never encountered a goose until here on this hunt. But I had a good feeling that we were going to get into geese, and this would be a perfect opportunity to introduce him to geese and hunting in the fields instead of the marshes. Kill him. One of the things that we expected from Colt was that he would break. Often you get these young dogs in the ground blind at the beginning of their career as a hunting dog, and there's new things. No matter how much you've prepared, there's real birds, and way more real birds than you could ever duplicate in a training scenario. And the calling that's going on from multiple people in blinds. So the numbers of birds, the amount of calling, the numbers of shots, all that's different than in the training field. So as we expected, Colt had a hard time staying in his blind at the beginning of the hunt. But as it went on, he started to realize that being in his blind was critical, and that that's what was going to get him the opportunity to then run out to retrieve the birds. And we saw great improvement in that area. And he started to lay in that blind for longer periods of time, waiting in between flights and staying in the blind until the birds have been shot.
Nice part about finishing up early, you get to cook up a little bit of breakfast while we're cleaning up decoys and stuff. Get some bacon and eggs going and have breakfast ready when we're all done taking everything down. Being a place that isn't necessarily a destination hunt, we don't have the same bird numbers you see in a lot of other places. And so we have to be really strategic with how we put our hunts together. We can't come in a weekend and shoot the same place 3 or 4 times in a couple days, because we'll blow all the birds out of the county and that's it for a long time. So you set it up and you try and structure things so you can have a great morning right when you get there, and then piece together a couple of other good hunts throughout. Find a place that you can spend some time in an afternoon, find another morning hunt for a day or so from now. Those type of things go a long way, where you're not just hitting one area a lot, but you're spreading it out and piecing together a good weekend. You have a great hunt to begin the weekend, a couple good hunts after that, do some scouting, see how the birds are moving for next time you're out here in a week or two, and that goes a long way.
When you're training a gun dog, it's hard to beat lessons learned from days in the field. There's a lot more excitement and distraction in the field than during training. That gives you the opportunity to teach the dog in real time what is needed for success.
We brought a really young, undeveloped dog with us. A dog that, during that first hunt, he blew some birds, he didn't hold quite as good. He's learning things. And that can be really frustrating if you've saved up and planned a whole week around a destination. It's really challenging to then be able to bring a dog that you have to say, we're developing it. We're gonna miss some birds because we're developing a dog during this hunt. And same thing with the friendships. You get to bring people up, have a great time among friends for a couple days on a weekend, and there's not the same stress of, what if the birds don't show up the way that we think they're going to, or we have to get out there and there's all these logistics, and being able to have a place in your backyard that you can go for a weekend with friends and develop dogs, and it brings a different aspect to the hunts that I think are important. They're my favorite part of hunting, is those relationships, the dog work, developing animals, developing places, learning the country, and it makes it so it's, in the end, it's all fun. It can be an enjoyable hunt kind of regardless of outcome, because we can do it again next week and the week afterwards, and we're just learning out here. We're having good times. So we're out here this afternoon. This is a spot we scouted last night. And if you think of a town, this is kind of like the local bar, right? They're not coming here to eat a ton. They're not coming here to sleep a ton, but to socialize, kind of hang out. We'll have geese and ducks throughout these fields and flying up and down this slough. So we've got a little setup ready for them, and kind of talk us through the setup, what the idea is behind it.
So this is real similar to like what almost every neighborhood has. Every neighborhood has a little slough. It's just not very big, and so we're hoping to kind of have a good shoot tonight. We've got our decoys set up here. We've got duck decoys out in the water. We've got a few goose decoys behind us out in the field, and we've got a few robo ducks spinning out here. And we're hoping that these birds are going to come in into the wind, and we got a storm front coming in, and it might make it real good, and it might not, you know, but normally a little storm front helps, and we just kind of got a landing zone out here for the birds to sit down in, and we'll just see if we can get them in the landing zone.
There we go. Good boy, Colt. In preparation, we've shot a number of birds over Colt in training sessions. We have worked diligently to have him accustomed to the sound of a gun and to know that that means there's birds and a lot of fun to be had. So I feel comfortable that he's prepared to come out on this hunt. He's even done some double marks and some of those kind of things. So he's familiar with running to retrieves and swimming to retrieves and some of those critical things for preparation prior to a hunt. So his knowledge is sufficient in the training situations, but now we're in the hunts. This is where he gets the real experience and starts to really put together what this is all about. Sit, 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 mark, mark, mark. I just shot a triple. Good boy, come here. Here, come here. Colt, come here. Good boy, come on. Good, good.
This is being from northeastern Utah. I mean, we're a couple of hours drive out here. It's an easy one to put together on a weekend. It's an easy one to do some scouting for and know what the birds are doing. We've put together a lot of different hunts, both in the upland and the waterfowl, that are right in our backyard, and they're areas that have been overlooked because they're not destinations. They're not places that people are gonna plan a whole trip around, but they are places you can have a great evening or a great morning. And it's something we don't see as much of. It doesn't get showcased as much, but they're a valuable part of the hunting world if you want to hunt often, is finding places like this in your backyard where you can say, I can get to know that area. I can get to know the birds, how they use the area. I can get to know landowners, and I can have a fun hunt close to home without it having to be a big ordeal.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Browning, the best there is. Fiocchi, your upland ammo for every pursuit. Onyx, know where you stand. Lucky Duck, loyalty goes both ways. Tetra Hearing, hear the hunt.
Family and friends, young dogs, and great memories. Hunting brings people together in ways that no other pursuit can really match. And it builds bonds between handlers and dogs with a depth and connection that goes beyond that of simple owner and pet. If you are willing to work for it and have a little bit of luck, you'll find places where you can hunt often building a lifetime of memories with the people and animals you love. It's for all these reasons that I'm a hunter. The people, the dogs, the memories, the birds. All interacting before a beautiful backdrop not far from home.
It's more than the hunting portion for us. These are people that become lifelong friends to us. In the off season, we see them. You know, they try to stop by and see us when they're in town. And if the hunting went away, they'd always be our friends. And I think that's the most important thing, is to develop relationships with people the same way we develop relationships with our dogs.
At the end of the day, I'm not sure that Colt's John's next dog, and I don't know if there are 2 new shotguns in my near future. But we were very pleased with Colt's progress. It was a great experience for him, and I think that he's learned how to carry a goose, and his eyes have been opened to this great life that he's gonna have the opportunity to live as a waterfowl dog.
It was a lot of fun. We had some great shooting, got to see some birds work the decoys awesome, setting down right on top of us. The dog work was good. We were able to develop a dog, help him learn some things. He is gonna be better on the next hunt than he was on this hunt, which is a success. And we got to share it all with great friends. And in the end, that's what hunting like this, these backyard scenarios, that's what it's all about.